Welcome back to Fox 5's On the Hill live this Sunday morning. It is a breaking news Sunday morning as we continue to take stock here on the news that the United States has launched a successful mission to bomb 3 nuclear sites in Iran and the impact that this is having here and abroad. Joining us this morning, Democratic Congressman Glenn Ivey from Maryland. Congressman, throughout the newscast this morning, we have been bringing statements from some of your Democratic colleagues, none of them supportive of what the president did, although some expressing support for the U.S. military troops that executed this mission. Your thoughts on this morning?
Well, I think that's right. I mean, the troops certainly performed exceptionally well. And so, commendations to them. On the other hand, the administration's decision to do this puts troops in danger. And so I know there's concern there. And we don't know how it's going to play out. So it looks like he's sort of dragged us into a war, even though he said he was going to do the opposite. And we don't know where it's going to go from here. And we also haven't been briefed fully on, what led up to this and also how successful it was or was not.
Well, during the Pentagon news conference this morning, they had indicated from the administration that in conjunction with the War Powers Act, they did notify Congress of this as the strike team was leaving the airspace. But what would the alternative be? Would a nuclear-armed Iran be acceptable to folks?
No, I don't think to anybody. However, I thought the thinking had been that they were going to give Israel a chance to move forward with its campaign, which had been enormously successful so far. And also, I thought that they were going to, or at least they had discussed diplomatic options that they were going to pursue. In fact, if you go back 10 days, right before Netanyahu launched the initial strike, we were about to have meetings. Witkoff is going over to meet with the Iranians to discuss this further. So, that got derailed. It is what it is at this point. But concern, I think, is, what's the end game? And I don't have the sense, frankly, that Israel has figured that out yet. And I know Trump has not.
One of the things that was spelled out in this briefing just a little while ago, I don't know if you had a chance to watch that or not, but that this was an ordinance that Israel did not have, a capability that Israel did not have. Wouldn't the United States, by taking this action, maybe bring this to a quicker end than had if Israel just open-ended, continue an air campaign that was not going to achieve the goal of actually taking out these 3 nuclear sites?
I think it depends on how Iran responds. I mean, what it could do is potentially drag it out further, not only for Israel, but drag it out for the United States as well. So depending on, for example, if they respond with attacks on soldiers in the region that aren't high grade. One of the issues was they're about to run out of missiles that they could use to strike Israel. I don't know that that's going to be the case with respect to counterattacks against U.S. military bases in the region, because they don't necessarily only need missiles for that. So asymmetric warfare is not something the United States wants to get back into. We had plenty of that with Afghanistan and other issues. This is one of those potential scenarios where you break it, you own it. And I don't think most Americans were in a rush to break it and own it again in the near future.
We went through this 25 years ago when the United States launched the global war on terror, that initially there was support that broke down. Our politics has changed over the last 25 years. Do Democrats run the risk right now in their criticism of President Trump appearing to not be supportive of the United States and its military actions around the world?
Well, I think we have been supportive of the military and their performance, but I'm not fully sure of what motivated Trump to do this from a briefing standpoint, from an intelligence standpoint. I saw him contradict his intelligence officer last week. She said they weren't that close to having nuclear capability. He said she doesn't know what she's talking about. If they're having open debates like that, I want to have the information myself so I can draw my own conclusions.
I want to move on. The Attorney General is on the Hill tomorrow. You're going to be part of that hearing. What questions do you have for Pam Bondi?
Man, I think we're going to have plenty of them. Certainly the politicization of the Department of Justice, I think, is deeply concerning. For example, the Eric Adams decision to drop those charges, essentially in exchange for his assistance with their immigration enforcement efforts. The $400 million plane, the Attorney General, I guess, got rid of the arm of the Department of Justice that prosecutes graft and corruption within the administration or elected officials across the country. There's a lot of things that have been taking place that I think we ought to be taking a close look at, and I don't think they are.
You've been involved in the case of Abrego Garcia. Do you feel that the charges in that case changed the dynamic of the conversation of him? Initially, the administration said he was deported mistakenly. Now, he's facing criminal charges.
Yeah, it looks like what they did was after they deported him and they admitted that they did that mistakenly and wrongly, and then they got political heat for it. They said, well, we better charge this guy with something, and that led to the prosecution. But you still have 50 or more Venezuelans who are being held that committed no offenses in the United States and were here legally, but they're in a jail for an undetermined amount of time.
Maryland Congressman Glenn Ivey joining us live this morning. We thank you so much for being with us. We thank you as well, too.